This is how Coca Cola became a multi-billion-dollar brand that no other beverage company has been able to overtake for decades. Not magic, but strategy. I'll show you the exact product, price, place, and promotion moves. By the end of this video, you'll be able to answer any question regarding the marketing mix. Ready? Let's get into it. Hi, my name is Shiran Fernando and you are joining with Terranova Academy. To know what the 4Ps are, we first must understand what the marketing mix is. The book defines marketing mix as a set of variables that a business uses to achieve its marketing objectives within a targeted market. Every business has their own marketing objectives. Marketing objectives answer the question, why must a business market itself? Or what are we trying to achieve by marketing our product? These objectives can include increasing awareness about the product, improving the close proximity towards our customers, improving our relationship with our customers, but most importantly, and the age-old objective of increasing our sales. To achieve these objectives, businesses knowingly or unknowingly use what we call as the 4Ps. But the effectiveness of these strategies won't be as strong if we deploy these strategies for the broader market itself. That is why we have the targeted market concept within the book definition of the marketing mix. But what do we mean by a targeted market? A targeted market means a scenario where the business has an in-depth understanding about who our core customers are. And by knowing who our customers are, we are able to deploy our strategies targeting those customers specifically instead of targeting the market as a whole. That way, our strategies are more effective because we are targeting those ideal customers only who most likely will prefer our product than the wider market itself. Together, when different variables are used strategically to achieve our market objectives within our target market, that is what we call as a marketing mix. This is what Coca Cola has been doing for so many decades, and they've been so good at it. Let's look at the first P. This is anything that we offer to the market to satisfy our customers' needs and wants. Anything that we as a business produce and sell to our customers is essentially what we call as a product. For Coca Cola, their secret recipe and the beverage in itself is essentially what the product is. Why this particular variable is very important is because for you to be able to get into business, you first need to have a product that you can sell to your customers. And this product in turn needs to satisfy their needs and wants. Because if your product does not address somebody's needs or wants, there won't be a demand for their product. No one will want to buy your product. Therefore, there needs to be a demand for your product. There needs to be a market available for your product. There needs to be people out there who want to buy your product. And at the same time, when you produce something, a good or a service that can satisfy that demand, then you have a product and a successful product at that. But as important as that is, your product should also be of good enough quality that it can effectively satisfy the needs and wants of those consumers. Because only then your customers will keep coming back to you to purchase your product again and again. Now, pricing is one of the more unique variables out of these four. Why? Because pricing is what essentially determines if your business is going to continue to exist or you will have to shut it down in a couple of months. Why? Because price is what you will be charging your customers for the good or service that you're offering them. And therefore, that will be the cost that your customers have to pay in return for the good or service. So whatever you price your product, that will be what you get as your sales revenue. It will be what your income is. Now, when speaking about pricing, right? If you happen to price your product too high, what would happen is that some customers, or most of the customers for that matter, may not want to pay for that product because they will feel like they're not getting enough value for the price that they are paying for it. But at the same time, when you price your product high, that is when you get bigger revenues. But at the same time, obviously, you are opening yourself up for the risk that customers may not be willing to buy your product. Now, when you put a high price on your product, what happens is, yes, you have the opportunity to earn a larger income, to earn more money, but at the same time, what can happen is you need to keep in mind that the price that you set will be the cost for your consumers, will be the cost for your customers. So what happens then is your customers also have to pay more. And if the customers don't feel that the price that you are charging them is reasonable, what will essentially happen is that they will not pay for the product. They will not buy the product or service. And therefore, your income does not increase, it actually reduces because fewer customers are now buying your product. But at the same time, if you price your product too low, what happens is, yes, there's a chance that more people will buy your product. Why? Because they feel like they are getting a good deal for the price that you're offering them. But you're not earning enough income. You're selling a lot of goods, you're selling a lot of units of products, but you're not getting enough income that will keep you motivated enough to be in business for the many months to come. So it's a give and take, and that is exactly why pricing your product at the right point is very important. To determine the correct price for your product, you can do market surveys, you can look at what other competitors are charging for similar products in the market, and there are so many other options available. But if you are the first entrant to the market, there's always that risk, and it's always a learning curve. And if you take Coca Cola as an example, now Coca Cola is marketed as a drink for fun times. It's a party drink. It's a drink for the youth. And therefore, they always make sure to not charge it as a premium drink. Like you would have these fancy teas and these other fancy beverages, but instead it's marketed as a more casual drink. And therefore the price reflects that in that it is more affordable. And now we move on to our third variable, place. Now, what do we mean by place? When you sell a product, how easily, quickly, and efficiently can you make sure your product reaches the customer? Let's say you sell a product today. Does your product reach the customer in 3 days, or does it reach the product immediately? Place determines the number of channels that your product needs to go through before it reaches the customer. Do you, as a producer, directly sell your product to the customer? Or do you sell it to somebody else who sells it to somebody else and who sells it to somebody else? And finally, it reaches the customer. How does it happen? That is essentially what place is. And why is place important? Place is very important because customers want to receive their products quickly. If you are able to make sure that when the customer places the order today, that you are able to guarantee to them that their order, wherever it is from in this world, is able to reach them within the shortest amount of time, the customers will be more inclined to place that order. Why? Because they know, yes, my money is going out today, but I'll be able to get that extra bundle of joy within the next few days. And if you take Coca Cola as an example, Coca Cola is an international brand. You have Coca Cola manufacturing factories in so many parts of the world. However, it's not always the case that Coca Cola directly distributes the products. Coca Cola often has so many agreements with so many distribution agents, and it is these distribution agents who make sure that even the most local village store gets that daily stock of Coca Cola. And that is why when you walk to the town, when you walk to your village store, that you are able to purchase that bottle of Coca Cola, regardless of where it is coming from. And that is why the place factor of the 4Ps is very important. When your product is more available to the customers, then that indirectly means that there's more opportunity for the customers to buy your product. But let's say your product is not available. Let's say you have 10 shops in your village towns and you go to each of those stores and you don't have Coca-Cola bottle there. How are you going to buy a Coca Cola bottle? There's no option. So you buy something else instead. I'm not going to say a Pepsi, but you probably buy a Pepsi instead. And then what's going to happen? Pepsi sales increase, Coca-Cola sales decrease. Why? Because it's just not available. But by having it available everywhere you go to, there's significantly more opportunity for Coca-Cola to sell their products than keeping it unavailable. Now we come to the final factor of the 4 P's of marketing, and that is promotion. And guess what? When we say marketing, this is what people mostly associate marketing with: promotion. But you know that promotion is just one aspect of this whole marketing concept. Promotion is where advertising, sharing free samples, and carrying out campaigns to create publicity and awareness for our products is part of. But more importantly, promotion has significantly evolved from what it was many decades ago. Today, businesses show their personal side. Today, businesses show their more human side. And with that, businesses want to build more emotional relationships with their customers. Businesses want to be part of very important events of their customers' life, so that when it comes to those events, when it comes to a birthday or when it comes to a holiday gathering, they always think, hey, I should maybe buy this product, because in our mind, psychologically, we are associating our major personal life event with this particular product. And Coca-Cola did that brilliantly many decades ago. Now tell me, why do you think Santa is wearing red and white? Do you think it's just a coincidence? Not really. Guess who introduced Santa to the world? Coca-Cola. And tell me, what colors is the Coca-Cola branding? Needless to say, it's red and white. America is the largest consumer market in this world. And what Coca-Cola did to America and later on to the entire world is they made sure that when people think of the holidays, or the Christmas holiday specifically, people associate it with Coca-Cola, because it's part of that holiday cheer. It's part of the festivities. It's part of the after meal drinks that you're going to have. So that is the brilliance of promotion, and that is the strategy behind what made Coca-Cola a part of culture, a part of everybody's lives, and a marketing giant. Together, these 4 variables make up the marketing mix, and hopefully the next time you get a question about what the marketing mix is, you probably remember this video and you may not have to memorize anything. If you enjoyed this video, do like and subscribe and share it with someone who you think will benefit from it. It will also help our content to reach more people like you. And until we see you with another video, keep learning.